Hello Social Business Summit, my name is Ricardo Amador and I'm very happy to be talking to you today about the challenges of starting a social business. I want to thank myVision, McGill for the opportunity they're giving me to address these challenges with you. I want to share my experience with ConstruCycle, which was a social business that aimed to make houses from recycled, pre-constructed panels for low-income communities in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Even though I like talking about positive things, I think it's important to talk about the challenges one faces as a social entrepreneur. I hope when I give you this information, you can use it and not make the same mistakes I've had. The first thing I want to talk about is the team. When you're looking for a team member, make sure you're constantly scouting for them when you go to conferences, when you are at the university, or also at parties. Make sure these are people that go in alignment with your same values and visions. So make sure you are clear about what is it that you're looking for, and don't bring somebody too early on and commit them into the social business. Don't make them partners. Make sure you know them well. Make sure you date them before you marry them. Having a partner is a long-term commitment, so make sure this person has the similar values, the similar vision, work ethic as you do, or else things will not work in the long term. Make sure you only choose 2 or 3 founding partners, because communication will be a lot easier, and also it's easier to handle a team that's smaller than a bigger one. Beware of power struggles. One of the things I struggled with working in the social business I was working with was there was a team member that actually wanted to become the CEO of the company. This person was very individualistic and had a big ego, and she wanted to become the CEO, not because she was good for the position, but just because she wanted to show off around that she was a CEO of a company. So make sure people like that, you don't bring them to the team, because these people don't care about the interests of the whole social business. They're in it just for themselves. And in general, try to avoid people like that, because it's very dangerous. We see this in organizations all over the world. We see it in the government. We see it in normal businesses as well. And the damage they do to society is very big. Make sure you are able to communicate well with the team, and you address any issues that come up very quickly. Don't take too long to address them. And make sure, if things are not happening, to make a decision very fast. Don't wait months to make a decision. Don't overthink. One of the things I made a mistake with this team member, for example, was trying not to listen to my gut feeling. My gut feeling told me this person was not good for the team, but I tried to not listen to it because I wanted to make sure I was right. And this took a lot of energy from us, and also it took a lot of time and a lot of things that we could have been working on. We had to be solving this issue. So try to make a decision very fast if things are not working out. Remember that the most important thing is for the social business to thrive. So even if it's you that you're not longer a good team member for the social business, make sure you can quit as well and make a responsible decision. Fundraising. It's important to pay yourself first. If you're not paying yourself first, it's going to be very hard for you to really commit and concentrate on the social business. If you don't have money to eat, to live on your expenses, you'll be worried about how you're going to support yourself in the next couple of months, and that will take a lot of energy from you that you can use for your social business. So make sure you have a salary, even if it's very basic, to cover all these expenses. Make sure you bootstrap at first. Don't bring a social investor very early in the social business. There's a lot of ways to fundraise, and sometimes you get money that you don't need to, soft money that you don't need to return. So make sure you tap those opportunities first. Business plan competitions are very good for experience, exposure, and feedback, but if they're very big and you're just starting your social business, they're not the best for fundraising. This is because you're competing with a lot of people. For example, some of them that I was competing in there were 4,000 people applying for this competition, so it's very hard to win them, even though you could become a finalist or semi-finalist, but getting up the prize money is extremely challenging. So I recommend you go for the small business plan competitions. There's a lot of them in universities, or some organizations also have them, and they're better for fundraising because you don't compete with so many projects. You could be competing against maybe 100 to 200 projects compared to 4,000. So you have bigger chances of winning, even though there's not a lot of money in them. Usually they go around $5,000 or $10,000, but at least that will help you with your prototype or your pilot test to start with. And then when you are ready, when you have a product, you have a pilot test, it'll be easier for you to be able to win the bigger business plan competition. There's a lot of grants out there, so make sure you're always searching for them, asking other social entrepreneurs what kind of grants they're applying to, and apply for everything you can. That will not only give you experience, but also can bring some money. When you are scaling up, then maybe it's time to bring an investor. But try to avoid an investor as much as you can. The investor should come to you if you need money, or if you need some experience and context. So make sure when you bring an investor, you don't think only about the money he will bring, but also the value he can bring or the experience he can bring to your social business. And make sure the investor has the same values and the same vision as you do, or else you will have problems and the relationship will not work out. When you prototype, try to do it as early as possible in the community. Don't wait too long to have the perfect solution. Just go out there and talk to the people already. Make sure they give you their feedback. Involve the community in the development of your product, and make sure you prototype very cheaply. Learn from it and prototype until all the stakeholders are happy. Remember, you don't have a perfect solution at first. It's important to just take the product out there and you improve it over time. One of the challenges I started with Construct Cycle was that I was trying to make the perfect product. I was thinking about sustainability, and I wanted to make it that the product was completely sustainable. It could be recycled, and this is all great, and you have to think about it. But do remember, it's better to start with something that have the perfect solution that never goes out to the market. Sometimes the perfect solution could be very expensive, but it could also take a lot of precious time. So make sure you take something out there and over time improve it and make it into the perfect solution, which will never be the case because there's never a perfect solution, but at least a better one that you started with. When you do research, I would recommend doing research in the community. Basing your research in the community instead of basing your research only on scientific papers or newspapers. Sometimes these papers or newspaper have an agenda. They have some investors or the people that are giving them money to respond to. So sometimes they're biased. When I was doing my research for Construct Cycle, I was living in Sweden, and I was doing this in Brazil, right? So it was very hard for me to have first-hand information. So I based my research mostly on what I could find on the internet, a lot of articles, and one of the things of the articles that said was that the favelas were bad. People living in the favelas needed to be taken away because favelas were evil. So that was my conception, and I did my whole social business around it. When I got to do the research in Brazil, I realized how different things were, and actually favelas were very sustainable. So my business model changed completely from having to take people away from the favelas to make sure I could use my materials and my houses inside of the favelas. So make sure you have a cultural anthropologist with you. They will be able to help you out to assess these needs more easily, to understand the community easier. And listen and observe the community. It's important for you to live with them to understand their issues. Be one of them so you can see through their eyes. And if you are not from the country that you're working with, the community you're working with, make sure some of the team members that you have are from that country. I would recommend starting a business in a country that you know. cultural differences can affect the business a lot. It's going to be very, very difficult to do business in a country that you don't know. Or unless you bring somebody that you make the CEO, that person is the one that knows the country. Remember to think big, but start small. You know, social business is all about scaling up, but make sure your solution is very small and you learn from them and you start growing. Start your social business while you're at the university is a perfect opportunity because you have time, you have a lot of talent around you, people who are very excited and passionate, but also there's a lot of opportunity for students to apply for grants and scholarships. So that's a great opportunity for you to start your social business, even though if it's not perfect, even though it may fail, it's okay. If you get out of the university and your social business is not working as expected, I recommend you to work in a normal business and then also a social business so you can gain some experience. Doing social business is extremely complicated, so if you don't have any experience, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So it's better to work for somebody else and make mistakes there so you can learn from it, and then you can use this valuable knowledge when you start your social business. Some of the most successful social entrepreneurs start their social business when they're 35 or 40 years old, so it's okay. Don't worry about it. You will have time to start. This is part of the process, it's part of the strategy to be the best you can be so you can become a good social entrepreneur and support and bring good solutions to the community. It's okay to fail. Remember, failing means you're trying something different. If you're doing a social business, you have to innovate a lot. And when you innovate a lot, you fail a lot. And this is part of the process. So don't feel disencouraged if you're failing. Feel disencouraged if everything is coming too easily. That means you're not doing something new. That means you're not challenging yourself. So remember, it's okay to fail. It's part of the process. Normal businesses take entrepreneurs 8 to 10 failures until they make it a successful business. So for social entrepreneur, I would say that is even higher, the fail rate. Remember to have balance in life. One of the mistakes I made was I worked too much. I was extremely passionate about Concert Cycle and everything I was doing, so I used to work like 14 to 16 hours a day, including Saturdays and Sundays. I didn't eat well, I didn't sleep well, I didn't have time to relax or exercise. So what ended up happening was that I got too stressed out and I burned out. Then I had to be like inside of a house for 6 months, resting. And I was very, very sick because of this. I lost my memory. I was not able to think clearly. So if I was not okay, I was not being able to be a good social entrepreneur. So make sure you take care of yourself first as well if you want to take care of others. Remember that it's very important to change yourself first before changing the world. Most people want to change the world, but they forget that if they don't change themselves, they can make a lot of damage. We see this with people with big egos. I had talked about this before. For example, some people go into a power position and they make a lot of damage in society. And people say that usually that power corrupts people. No, power doesn't corrupt people. The problem was that they were already corrupted and they were not ready to be powerful. Because there's a lot of other people that when they become powerful, they make a lot of good in society. So make sure you change yourself first. Make sure you deal with your past and you are able to be clean so you can move forward and be the best you can be. Because if you don't address your past will hunt you and you will not be able to concentrate on being a good social entrepreneur or being somebody good to society. So remember to eliminate your ego. So I'm very excited to be able to share this with you. I hope this helps a lot. And go there, don't be afraid. It's a wonderful experience to be a social entrepreneur. It's gonna be hard, but that's important because it will make you grow and become a better person. And everything that is worth it is hard. So be clear about this. But it's an excellent ride, and remember that you're not doing this for yourself, you're doing this for other people. So God bless and wish you all the best. Bye-bye.